What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another Three Geeks conversation. I'm super excited to talk to you guys. My uncle, my dad, and my mom all watched this show growing up, and I told them we were talking to you, and they were super excited. Especially my uncle. He's going through your YouTube channel right now as we speak. But how are you guys doing?
Yeah, we're doing great. We really are.
Where you guys from?
Hungry.
You guys
Originally, I grew up in Texas. Doug was born in New Jersey, migrated to, I guess, California. And then Arizona, and
and we ended up doing the show in Hollywood.
What's the journey like to get a show like that on the air back then?
Wasn't easy. Yeah. I mean, but we just felt like we were at the right place, with the right product at the right time.
It's pretty amazing. The whole thing was.
The whole thing was kind of a Cinderella story, I like to call it, because neither one of us had television experience.
We both had quite a bit of theater experience.
Yeah.
Tell them what happened.
Yeah, we were both in theater, and we had met in an acting company in Northern California doing summer stock, and we decided to head down to Hollywood and see what we could do, and my mom was working in a toy store in Whittier, California. And the owner of that toy store had a little beanbag frog, and she wanted to do something with that frog. She had some contacts, and she asked my mom, "Do you know of anybody that can help me create a show?" And my mom, being a good mom, said, "Hey,
son.
my son could probably do that. I mean, he's doing some needlepoint for you now, and I'm sure he could probably help you, And so I met with her, and she said, "Okay, Doug, the only thing I want you to do is you got to use this beanbag frog. That's the only, other than that, go for it." So I went home. I wrote the theme song. I sketched out a set, came up with the Henrietta Hippo and Freddy the Frog. I named the beanbag Freddy the Frog, and Charlie was initially a giraffe. That was my concept for him. And I asked Emmy Jo, "Hey, you want to be on a
I'll do it.
be on a kid show?" And she said, "Yeah." And so I took it into the toy store, played the song for her, and showed her everything. She said, "I really like this." And so we kind of developed it further. I wrote some more scripts and songs, and we worked out an audition piece, and it turns out she had she knew the owners of Mattel toys at the time, and she somehow got an audition, a live audition for Emmy and I to go into their theater, in Hawthorne, California, and live audition for the owners of Mattel and their whole bank of creatives and ad agency. So we were just like, "Okay, let's do this." This is like, So we were on stage. We were on stage.
Yes, it was incredible.
Singing. We sang the theme song. I sang a bunch of songs. We both sang together. She played Charlie the Owl. I had changed it to an owl at this point. She played Charlie the Owl and herself, Emmy Jo, and I played Henrietta Hippo because I used a falsetto like that, and I and I played Freddy the Frog and myself, Doug. And so we just really, played our hearts out for him. And what happened, Emmy Jo?
Well, nothing. They just sat there, and just like very typical
Audition.
of any audition, there was no response whatsoever.
No.
So we left the stage, and we just figured, well, we hope they liked it, but we didn't know. But it turned out they loved it.
Yeah.
They got behind the show, which was just great.
So they came back to us and said, "Hey, we want to do a pilot. And, we like your sets. We like the characters. We like the message. because at that time, guys, back then, the media was under fire, especially children's programming was under fire because it was too violent. They were, they were selling Hot Wheels. They were doing all kinds of stuff that were selling to kids and not really helping kids. And so the FCC said, "Hey, you got to do something that's
There's a little education.
throw in a little education, guys." So Mattel said, "Well, we got to do this." So we happened to, like I said, have the right product at the right time, and sure enough, we did the pilot and a couple episodes, and all of a sudden it just kind of took off. People really enjoyed it, and they could get our messages. We were invited to the White House twice, and that's when we kind of knew, wow, we got something good here.
No kidding. Yeah. That's awesome. So how do you navigate that for creating like an episode for a child if there's a lot of pressure around like, hey, we need to make sure we're just doing education and not doing the Hot Wheels, trying to sell to them? How do you balance that in terms of the messaging you're giving to a kid in an episode?
I really think, as I remember, because Doug was doing all the writing, he did all the storylines and the songs. I don't remember you ever really being concerned about, well, am I educated? Is it violent? That's the dog. I'm sorry. Maybe somebody's here. But anyway, he wrote from his heart. It just welled up from his heart. Both of us love kids, and we, I guess, have a little childlike spirit within us. And it just came out of his heart. I don't remember you being really worried about, all the topics and everything that he did. He thought, oh, let's do a show about this. Let's do a show about that. He even did a show about Shakespeare. We thought that would be cool. Both of us were theater actors.
Well, the cool thing about it was we did have some pushback on some of the themes, to be honest with you. I wanted to do a show on greed, kind of telling kids to be happy with what you have. Be thankful for what you have. You don't need a new toy. You don't need. Well, we had to get the scripts approved by Mattel and their whole bank of people. And when they read that script, they were like, "We're a toy company, and you're telling kids to be happy with what they have?" No. So there was some pushback there on some of these episodes.
Sure.
But they went with it, and that was really a fun episode with Charlie the Owl saying, "I got what I need." It was a little honky tonk song, and that was the message. Be thankful for what you have. So it was kind of cool that I was able to have the freedom to explore these topics. We did a show on drugs, telling the truth.
And we did shows on other things, like on beauty, on art, things like that were all kinds of things about nature.
Yeah,
that was fun. It was a lot of joy.
we did 196 half hours, so there was 196 themes, and each show had 3 songs, and I was just in heaven because I was always wanting to be a musical comedy writer on Broadway, and this was the closest I ever got. But I was able to write a musical comedy for kids that aired every day, and it was just amazing.
And you guys met a little bit before the show. I just want to say congratulations on being married for so long. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we're coming up to
December 28th is our 54th
54.
wedding
Congratulations.
anniversary.
Yeah.
Can't believe that.
Thank you.
So,
Awesome.
And they said
yes, you can say we're senior citizens now.
well, and they said it wouldn't last. It was a Hollywood marriage.
Well, you got married prior to the show, right? I remember I researched you at least a little bit, and I think you were married prior to this thing kicking off, right?
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah. Yeah, we got married really right before the
right before the pilot.
right before the pilot.
In fact, when we didn't get a honeymoon, we came back and our honeymoon was the pilot.
Yeah.
But when we were on the plane coming back, Doug was sketching out the set. In those days, you could get stationery from the airline flight attendant.
Sure.
And so I've still got it. I've got it in a scrapbook where he sketched, and they gave it to the guys who did the actual specs for it, and it came to life.
Yeah.
It was wonderful, but it was
was
very exciting.
it was really nice. Because, see, be brought to life on the second stage was just incredible, really. And we got to work with Sid and Marty Croft's company. They built our costumes. They didn't actually design them, but they took my sketches and we worked together with them. And I was able to go in and say, "Hey, give Freddy a little more smile," and how about let's do this to Henrietta, let's do this to Charlie, and they just brought those characters to life. And then that coupled with the talent that was in the costume and doing the voices, boy, we just it all came together really well.
It sure did. If I seem a little distracted, our dog is right beside me, and he's a husky, and he barks, and there's something out there. Maybe it's the cat, and so I've got a bag of dog treats, training treats, and I've got him right here trying to keep him quiet.
You think that we were doing a show right now, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
What is the audition period like, bringing in these people to play the characters? You said you did it during the initial pitch meeting. Do you try to tell them the voices you're going for, or do they try to bring their own spin on it?
No, we once the pilot was, when we did the pilot, we had auditions for that for the pilot, but some of the people that were in the pilot didn't make the final in the actual run of the show. So we tried to get people that were compatible with us and that their voices were into the character and able to communicate that, because they not only had to do a character voice, they had to sing, and they had to do everything. And the dancers inside the costume, they had to be real dancers.
Goodness, they were amazing, and they were real dancers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, we had Larry Thomas, who was in Henrietta's costume. She was a stand-in for in My Fair Lady. She was and
Julie Andrews.
For Julie Andrews,
wow, yeah.
And her double, I guess you'd say her.
She was in My Fair Lady. Oh no, Sound of Music.
Yes, she was in the Sound of Music, but she was in My Fair Lady, and she was one of the original gold diggers.
Yeah.
And she was just one of the most accomplished, well-respected dancers in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And we were just so fortunate. I mean, it was such a thrill. I had done some, a lot of stage work in New York and summer stock, places like that, but I'd never done television. And to be on a sound stage with somebody like Larry Thomas, and we had Sharon Baird, who was one of the original Mouseketeers. Yeah. That was so fun. And the Yanko Inoni, who's an incredible dancer. They were very helpful, very helpful. Yeah. They recognized that, these are two green kids, they need help. And they were very generous with helping us.
Yeah, we had to learn, when you're on stage, you're playing to the back of the house. I mean, you got to be projecting and everything, but when you're doing TV, you got to let the camera do the work, and your expressions, you don't need to be like over the top. Yeah, right. You can be subtle, and that was kind of a thing for us to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Were you always a storyteller? Having 190 plus episodes, I assume that doesn't come out of thin air. Were you always telling stories prior to this thing? Were you always just?
Yeah. To be honest with you,
Oh my goodness! I'm just gonna jump in here.
Yeah.
We've got boxes of plays that he has written, musicals that he has written. That's who he is. It just wells up I mean, he's written church pageants, little musicals for Christmas time at church, and just wonderful, wonderful things that are all out there in boxes in the garage that never got really produced. Some of them were like he has a great musical based on a play by Moliere, and he called it "Oh What a Night," and it was produced at Cal State Fullerton, which is his alma mater, and later I think in Pasadena
City College.
cool.
Yeah.
You know,
But that was an adult show, you know.
it was a grown-up show, but it was just, you know.
But as far as the kids show, I was, before New Zoo, while I was going to college, I got a job as a children's theater director for the city of Whittier, and I wrote original musicals like based on fairy tales, like Hansel and Gretel and Cinderella, and I did my own take on all this, and it was fun because I had the kids were doing all the parts, and I was recording the soundtrack at home and playing it back to the stage for the kids. So I've kind of always, that's been my dream. In addition to that, I had my own rock and roll band before.
Oh, he sure did. I can remember his mother telling me that there was something in the wall, a crack in the wall was because of his rock and roll band. They used to rehearse at his home.
Yeah.
In Whittier.
But I had a group called the Days in Between, and our claim to fame was we got to open for CTA, Chicago Transit Authority at the time.
Oh, yeah.
At the San Bernardino Swing Auditorium, and so that was fun. I was singing with my sister, myself, and my band at that point, and so I've always done music.
Mm-hmm. It's awesome. So, I mean, you've written a lot of music too. Obviously, again, the same breadth of 190 plus episodes. How long does it take to from ideation of an episode to creation? Like, how long does that take? Like, how long does it take to write the music? How long does it take to write the thing? How long does it take to shoot it? What's the set like? Like, what's like the full flow of let's say an episode?
Yeah. Well, I can tell you it was quite a assembly line because in the summer I would come up with the storylines, and I would actually compose the songs for each episode. I always did the lyrics first because to me the melody was always born out of what you were saying, what the words were, and so I did rough tracks on all the songs, all the episodes, and we would do 40 to 50 shows in a season. So I would have to have all that ready then we had a team of writers who would take my storyline and develop it into a script. And then we would have, our schedule was like this. On Friday, before the week started, we would record 12 songs, the whole album for the week. So it was 3 songs in every episode, and we would do 4 shows a week. So on Monday, we would rehearse the 2 episodes. On Tuesday, we would film those 2 episodes. So we only had 1 day of blocking, choreography, and everybody had to learn the songs, lip sync the songs, and we just rehearsed those 2 shows all day on Monday, shot those 2 shows on Tuesday, rehearsed 2 more shows on Wednesday, shot those on Thursday, and then Friday we would go into the studio and record another album. so that was our, and you have to remember that back in the day, we were on 2-inch videotape. It was always breaking down. I mean, this was like one of the first video shows out there. And that was an eye opener too, because the machines were always breaking down, and we would be late at night trying to finish an episode. Because even like today, it's all about money and how can you do this faster and cheaper. And so when I wanted to do another take of a song, the director in the truck would say, "Well, that's good enough." To me, I wanted perfection on every dance number, every song, every, I'm just a perfectionist like that. But sometimes you didn't get that. You didn't get that on the tape.
That's right.
Makes sense.
Well, since you did work for Mattel doing the show, did they, and I know there was toys created, did they ever ask you to create new characters so they could make more toys?
No, not really. The characters kind of were born out of, we got to change it up. We got to do something new.
You did get in there.
Well,
And Nor.
well, there was a little puppet called Nor, and we created him so that he could comment on the action. We could cut away and he could do a funny line. And then Frida was Freddy's cousin.
Yeah.
That was just another way to
It was Nor.
mine.
Right.
And because we wanted Freddy to have just a new character to deal with. And so when Frida, his cousin, came on, Henrietta wasn't there because the dancer was in Frida's costume and the voice of Henrietta was doing Frida. So it just gave the writers and myself another avenue to explore characterizations and plot lines and the whole flow of the show. And so it really wasn't a toy thing at all. In fact, I wasn't very privileged about the
We had no
toys.
idea. We find out all the time, like on our Facebook site.
Yeah.
Somebody will write in and they'll say, "Oh, I had this toy or I had that toy." And we think, "Well, that's interesting. I never knew we had that toy."
Do you two have like a favorite episode? Like, it's probably for each of you individually. Like, Emmy, do you have a favorite? Doug, do you have a
Every
favorite, or-
episode where I have scenes with Henrietta in her kitchen is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I loved Henrietta and I loved her house, and it was cozy. It was almost like a real house to me. So any of those episodes, if you see any of them, it's just she and I in her house.
Well, I don't know if you're on our Facebook page, but there's there's a lot of clips that my daughter puts on there, just little snippets from a lot of the different episodes. And it's so fun because I choose songs that Emmy Jo did with Henrietta. There's one on there right now that is just a kick. It
Yeah,
really
and
is.
it's just one of the ways that we found out about all these toys that we didn't know anything about is that we have another Facebook site. It's the New Zoo Revue Family Reunion.
Yeah.
And that one, Doug and I are not on it at all, but it's just for anybody can join it. But it's for our New Zoo Revue kids. And they share pictures of their families, of their pets. It's so fun. And that's where sometimes they'll bring a toy in and say, "I still have it."
Yeah, we were. I was amazed at the impact the show had.
Oh my goodness.
Guys, we had no idea when we were actually doing it that we were making a difference.
Yeah.
And our little show really did make a difference. I mean, we've had when we were at San Diego Comic-Con, we've been in Boston at a Comic-Con
And Philadelphia.
meeting some of the kids that are now grown up who watch the show, and it's amazing the stories. Like, hey, Charlie the Owl inspired me to be a dentist. And I'm like, really? It's
And
like,
we've got just quite a number of our New Zoo kids. I call them my New Zoo kids.
Yeah.
And I'm very fond of them, of every single one of them. I love them to pieces. And see how they've grown up, the contributions they're making to their communities. We've got every profession in the world is represented in that group. And but some of them have, they have had to overcome quite a bit from their childhood. And just the other day, someone wrote that they wish that I could have been their mom or their aunt or something. It's just, there was something very comforting about watching us and pretending that we were in a family together. And we are in a family now. I mean, for 50 years, Doug and I didn't know about the impact. We just thought, gosh, the show's off the air. We're just going to go on with other things, I guess. And then our daughter, I guess it'll be 2 years this New Year's Eve, started the Facebook page. And I think we're at about almost 81 or 82,000
That's incredible.
followers.
Great work. Yeah.
And the stories we've heard, and when we go to these Comic-Cons, I didn't even know what a Comic-Con was or is, but it's like, for us, it's like a family reunion, meeting these, they were little children and now grown up in their 50s and 60s, and some of them have grandchildren, and it's hugs and tears, and it's wonderful. I don't know how other people feel about the Comic-Cons, but I just love it. I love meeting these children that have grown up now.
And we had a great time in Boston. I finally met Sid Croft.
Yep, that was fun.
That was fun. He's 92, and he had a booth, and we had a booth, and he finally met me, because I hadn't really met him even when he was making our costumes. And
Sure.
so we had, we had a great kind of reunion just with this guy, and he's still going strong.
Yeah.
But he lost his brother just a little while ago.
That's
And but it's been an eye opener. It's been
They know, our new Zoo kids know that they can get in touch with us. They can send private messages, and they do. And I've got people that I'm praying for that are either they themselves or people in their families that are struggling with illness, and they just are reaching out to have some comfort and somebody to be a support to them, and we try to do that.
Yeah, it's
And
wonderful.
then I'm doing a song a week on the Facebook
Yeah.
page.
I've watched a couple. They're great. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, get this. These songs I wrote 50 years ago, and I'm trying to learn. I'm learning the guitar all over again, or the piano, and I'm like, did I compose that? How did I play that? My fingers can't even do that D minor chord anymore, and I'm like, and so it's just been a real kick, to see the reaction of the songs 50 years later, and really some of them are
They
pretty.
hold up.
They hold up. I mean,
Yeah.
the subject matter back then is, sometimes unfortunately is the subject matter now that that kids are dealing with. And so we've had a lot of grandparents say, I'm turning my kids onto this show.
Great. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Would you guys do it again if somebody reached out to do the show again?
Well, I don't know if we would be on camera, because our dancing ability is, when you have your knees
We would-
replaced.
We would, I'll tell you what we would do.
Yeah.
If somebody did that, we would make cameo appearances.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Like it'd be Granny Zoo, Grandpa Zoo, or something like that. But there would be a new Emmy Jo and a new Doug, for
but
sure.
hey, we would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I would love to have a revival.
Yeah, just get me a rocking chair and I'm ready to go.
I mean, it's a huge gap in television that's missing, especially since Mr. Rogers passed away. I don't think there's been anything really since.
No, there really hasn't been. And
Yeah.
I've had a ball just going back and on the old episodes and recoloring and kind of making the sound a little better. And I've got like 14 episodes on Prime Ticket where I put subtitles or closed caption on, and it's just that a lot of people like that for sure. We've got some free episodes on YouTube.
Yeah, that's
And
incredible.
I just might brag on Doug. I'm really excited about this. He's got a new show.
Yeah.
And the only thing that's missing is financing. We got to get some financing for it. But tell him about the show. It's wonderful. It's very exciting. We're not in it, but it's
Yeah, it's about
all animation,
it's not animation, it's live action animation.
live action animation.
Yeah, it's called Knights of IT, Guardians of the Digital Realm, and the whole premise is, how people are being bullied on social media, Well, this is like to change that, to flip that script. And it has 3 songs in it. It has cyber rats who are trying to influence the kids. and it has the good guys who are going in and changing the text back to positive messages. So it's kind of a pretty cool concept. Everybody's kind of
helping children and teenagers even navigate social media.
Yeah.
You know, it can be a great thing. It can be a terrible thing when kids either get into things that they shouldn't be seeing, or maybe they're being bullied, or, you know, but then on the other hand, if they know how to manage it, it can be wonderful.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, that's our latest foray into.
I hope it happens.
TV.
Yeah. Is there? I mean, have you looked into like stuff like Kickstarter, like to do it yourself, kind of get someone else, like have your fans fund it, like a little bit? Like Kickstarter might be a good way.
Well,
to go about it.
we're looking at crowdfunding. We're looking at a lot of sources, you know, that's open now that weren't open back in the day when we were doing Zoo. You know.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's awesome, guys. And you said everybody can find you on social media and all the fun social medias. I'm going to put the links to all of your stuff below, especially the YouTube.
And make sure that you have our website. Doug just built a new website, which I just love. It's www.thenewzooreview.com. Isn't it thenewzoo.com?
Yes.
It's just beautiful.
It's pretty cool. It's got I don't know if you can pull it up there, but it's.
Yep, I'm about to pull it
got
right
a
up
bunch
right
of
now.
stuff. And then you've got our Facebook page and our Instagram and all of that.
We're on that too.
What was the website one more time?
It's thenewzooreview.com.
www.
Well, I don't know if you need the www anymore.
Well, I don't know. Shows you how technical I am.
But if you were you able to pull it up?
It's not pulling
Justin?
up for me.
I got it.
Did you? Okay, cool.
Oh, yeah. One sec.
Justin, you've got it, Justin, right?
I do.
Yep, that's why he's our producer.
Yeah, thenewzooreview.com. There it is.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I'll have the link in the description.
And then if you go to the all that menu stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of
all
stuff.
it all works.
Always
I'm so happy it works.
As someone that has built websites before too, I have known that fear. Oh, it works. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Well, especially when you build it yourself. It's like,
Well, thank you guys so much for your time. Everybody like, comment, subscribe.
Ever notice how ads always pop up at the worst moments? When the killer's identity is about to be revealed. During that perfect meditation flow. On Amazon Music, we believe in keeping you in the moment. That's why we've got millions of ad-free podcast episodes, so you can stay completely immersed in every story, every reveal, every breath. Download the Amazon Music app and start listening to your favorite podcasts ad-free, included with Prime.